Hi friends, and welcome to Wives vs. World. I'm Anya.
I'm Jackie.
And today we want to talk about our gender identities. Because we feel like there's more to the story than we've been letting on.
Really?
Maybe.
We usually like to introduce our channel with being like, well, we don't do that anymore, do we?
No, I think we forget to do it actually. But usually when it's important for the topic we're discussing, we usually say,
I'm a trans woman.
And I'm a cis woman.
But
we use those monikers a lot
sure.
when we talk to you guys and we talk to journalists and stuff like that. Because it's the easiest way to describe our relationship and to have people understand kind of what our situation is and get their expectations right, I guess.
Exactly. And I think it aligns a lot with like what gender were you assigned at birth and how do you present outwardly now.
Yes.
And in that way, well,
exactly.
Fits pretty well.
But
it's also so binary.
Yeah, it's a very binary way to see the world. And we've discussed this many times on our channel that we don't believe in the binary.
Honey, why don't you tell me a little bit about how you see your own gender? What gender are you? No peeking in your pants.
Oh, no!
No.
But I have these are very tight.
Gender identity-wise, where do you see yourself?
We usually describe me as a cis woman, and I feel fine about that. But I do think I consider myself more non-binary because we've talked so many times about the fact that I don't care about gender, I don't care about it with someone else, and I don't care about it for myself. I don't think that it's something that determines what you like or what you think or what you feel. And I do think that gender is something we perform mostly.
And impose.
I guess that's why I don't, it's really difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because it's mostly when people use gendered language, like, hi girls, what are you talking about or something. I hate that.
But that gives me the creepy crawlies.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that's a patriarchy problem and not necessarily my gender identity problem.
No.
I feel like personally inside myself, I feel non-binary. But at the same time, I don't use that to describe myself. We don't use it for this channel either because I feel like it doesn't benefit anyone to say that I feel
but on the other hand...
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry.
I'm getting to it. Shut the f*** up. Don't you think it would benefit someone like to know that you can be binary and still present like in a conformative, does that make sense? Way?
I know what you're saying, and I want to preface that a little bit with elaborating what I mean with I don't think it benefits anyone, because nothing obviously has to benefit anyone if you want to describe yourself in any way. Especially when we talk about us as a cis-trans couple. Like, if you have a conversation, especially with someone who don't get it, you really, really have to dumb things down and make it as simple as fucking possible. In that whole debate, it just doesn't matter what I feel, that I don't care about gender. It makes the impact better to describe me as a cis woman. So I present extremely traditionally feminine, generally. It's my whole thing, and I talked about that a bit in the previous video as well, about how that kind of relates to my gender identity and my queerness and all that stuff. Like a lot of people out there in the world who they kind of starting to understand what transgender means. It's like, okay, fine, you're born in the wrong body and want to be something else and all that stuff. And they go like, fine, okay, that's a thing. But if I come here in my pink dress and I'm like, no, I'm not female, then people's minds are gonna implode and they just don't want to have that conversation, don't want to listen to me, all that stuff. When that is said, I want to make it very clear that non-binary people don't have to look non-binary. They don't have to look like androgynous or like a mix of male and female, or whatever that means.
Just silver one season bowl guys. Hi.
I love your tiny paws in my mouth, baby boy. My second point is you don't have to look a specific way to be non-binary. They can be gender non-conforming, and I think that is kind of tied to how you look. I might be wrong. But I feel like it often is, at least. Of course, you can be gender non-conforming with your personality as well, but I feel like it's often tied to how you present. Yeah, and the same with being non-binary. A lot of non-binary people do somehow not conform to gender-specific clothing or presentation style.
That's true.
But a lot do.
Can I add something to this? Because you do say that you conform to your, like, the presentation of your assigned gender, you know? But I would also argue that you put a spin to it. You put a very femme spin to it, a very queer spin on femininity, which takes it, I think, out of the conforming aspect, which for Danish women is like very laid back, not very femme. I would also argue that you are being kind of non-conforming with your way of presenting femininity.
Yeah.
Do you think about that, huh?
Sure, that's a take. I don't want to say
It's a good take.
Yes, and I agree. But that's also kind of breaking with femininity in general, expectations of femininity or whatever, right? Because I also feel like my personality.
Here it comes.
What's coming? What?
Your personality is that of an 80s male movie star.
Like, I wish. I have a lot of gender envy, certain aspects of men.
Brazen masculinity.
I guess. And sometimes I see masculine presenting people and be like, I wish that were me. And it's not. I like the way I present. I like the hyper femininity, but I also like a lot of other stuff. But because of the way I look, generally, I kind of don't want to bother trying something I could never achieve-ish. And that's a kind of eggy thing to say.
That's very eggy.
Yeah, I kind of feel...
That's very interesting. Are we getting a coming out here right now? Is this just going to be husband and wife against the world?
No, because I feel like the part about I don't want to bother is enough to be like, okay, fine. And I'm comfortable. I like the way I present. I have no chest dysphoria at all. I like my boobs. I like how they look.
So do I.
Yeah, and
likewise.
Likewise, boob handshake.
I know what you mean.
I don't feel like, I wish I didn't have these chest things, and if I didn't, I would look like a snake because I'm very skinny and I would look like Slender Man basically. And I'm not into that whole look either. I wouldn't want my body to look different, but sometimes I wish
Sometimes you wish you could just be big and broad and wear a cowboy outfit and be very intimidating.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily feel like with the same body.
You wish you could body shift from time to time.
Yeah. That's me. That's what I want. What is that called? What gender identity is that? I feel like that sums up my feelings about it all pretty well.
And I don't think that puts the very good spin on it. That it's something that's very difficult to just boil down to I am noun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say I'm a cis woman. Like, again, a lot of like not being comfortable with femininity is also tied to sexism.
Yeah, it's more like people expect me to be a certain way that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish they would shut up so I can enjoy femininity.
Yeah, something like that.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Are you surprised?
No?
No?
It's just very interesting.
So I feel like this adds nothing to the debate, but I still think it's interesting to talk about. That there can be more beneath the surface, and we can all get to think about our gender identity and discuss it and explore it. It doesn't have to be that serious, because I don't feel it's that serious.
No.
But I like thinking about it. I like exploring it. I like talking about it with you. And I don't necessarily feel like it has to be like a whole big thing and this is now non-binary and trans woman extravaganza time, you know? and some people will be like, that just means you're cis.
And maybe that's the shortest way of saying it. Like me saying I'm a trans woman is the shortest way of...
Yeah, so and I want to discuss that now. Great segue.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Well, we've discussed before, I've talked a lot about before how I did not identify with being assigned male at birth, having to conform to being a boy or having to grow up to be a man. Like, I did not want that for myself. I wanted to go a different route. And when I tried to find out how that could go, I looked at, my options and I thought, well, the feminine fits me. To be as brief as I can be, I think I would just say that my whole journey was a journey away from manhood and away from dysphoria and into euphoria about my gender identity. And just like you said, it's just so much easier for me to say I'm a trans woman because that's what fits with a lot of how, people often assume I'm a cis woman, but then when it's a bit of a more of a queer setting, well then, it's just, you're a trans woman. But there's just a layer to that that's like, yeah, I might also be presenting very feminine, but like there is still a dimension to me that really likes the more non-conform
I think this also ties kind of into our whole past with visual kei fashion.
Yeah, I think so too.
Where sure you can say pants are masculine and dresses are feminine.
Yeah.
Or like if you say I like to wear pants, therefore I'm non-conforming. That's not what we're saying.
No.
But it's just like the whole visual kei, the way of taking clothing and just making it.
How about if I
taking
wear
it
some
away from
pants
gender,
and then I bedazzle them with rhinestone. I put like little lace
spikes
things on
and
it.
lace,
spikes and lace and strong colors and sort of BDSM, sort of My Little Pony. Like that whole mix, that whole eclectic mix.
Yeah.
I find that inherently interesting.
Yeah.
And if I were 14, I would do that all over again. I'm maybe just at a point in my life as a 30-year-old person where I maybe don't want to have that kind of like vibe,
Going into the office like, hi folks, it took me an hour to style my hair this morning.
Konnichiwa,
I'm
bitches.
wearing more makeup on my face than all of you combined.
Well, I am.
Yeah, even though
my understanding of gender is that it's not a binary thing. I see myself, and that's the switcher, I see myself as a woman sometimes. Sometimes I very strongly feel like a trans woman, whatever that means to you. And then at other times, I feel so much more like beyond. Any kind of gender. Like, it's not something like, there is a fluidity in the way I experience my gender. The only real, and maybe that's the contrarian in me again, like the only thing that I can say for certain, never could feel comfortable like
as a man
with all that comes with it. And maybe in 500 years, maybe when gender has been eradicated, maybe it would be a different case, but that's not what I grew up in.
No.
It has a huge amount of connotations.
Yeah.
That I just, no.
Yeah, because I find it kind of interesting because you have had to define yourself a lot to the world.
Yeah.
I am a woman, and I feel like also a lot of trans women, I'm just generalizing, because there's so many expectations to perform gender and conform to gender. It's like sometimes it makes you grasp harder onto the binary system, maybe. And also you've had to so many times to yourself and to the world be like, I'm a woman. So it must be also kind of interesting for you to be like, actually that's not the whole story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think there's a very, very interesting talk to be had, like about the related damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of.
You have to look like you want to be a woman, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, but if you do too much, then you are fetishizing it, you're making a mockery
perpetuating
of it. And if you're not doing if you're rejecting that, if you're being like, no, fuck that's patriarchal bullshit, then
you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then you want to be so that's a whole different thing. But gender doesn't really have a hold on me anymore because like I've self-actualized. So I'm just sitting here like a non-binary loaf of bread,
Yeah. You look very supple.
Very supple, sweet smelling, delicious. Good with butter. But the short answer is, still trans woman. But
with an asterisk,
like woman, but recognizing that it's a fluid thing.
Exactly. And I like these kind of conversations because I feel like right now the internet is you have to know exactly what you are and how to label it. Otherwise, don't talk to me-ish, And I find that a little strange, I guess. And this video is not providing any answers. It's not...
Or insight.
No, exactly. It's just a little discussion about what all this means. The talks we've had with journalists who they literally don't get it.
No.
It's hard to relate to because there's so many people in the world who really, really believe in the gender binary.
Yeah.
And they can't imagine anything else. And it's just not possible to have these kind of discussions.
No, I had this talk with like the sweetest person who I did something recently with, like a journalist or I guess like some kind of like video producer. And that was we had a very honest talk about like how she gets me. She could understand me going from one box to the other box. Like, she could conceptualize that. Yeah, you can open the lid, take this one out, put it in. But like,
dissolving the boxes.
Yeah.
She couldn't grasp it.
No, and she was very honest about that.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't really see how that would work. And I think we had a really good talk about that. Yeah.
And I think it's fair that people don't understand. I also think they don't have to, but like I just think the subject is more complex than it's possible to discuss easily.
I think it's one of those where you have to sit down with like a cup of tea or coffee or maybe even a beer.
Yeah, and discuss
then,
it in the wee hours of the night.
Yeah, this is very fussy.
And I feel good about that actually. Yeah. In olden times we didn't necessarily have a short label to encapsulate a gender identity, but now we do. Mm-hmm. So maybe in the future there will be something that will encapsulate all this. But right now there isn't really, I feel like. So we just talk a bit about it and talk honestly and openly about our feelings, not trying to impose anything on anyone, just trying to discover each other and ourselves and you guys. Feel discovered yet? What do you guys feel about it? Do you have any thoughts to add to this whole debate? How would you describe your own gender identity, and can you recognize any of these feelings, or do you just think this is a load of bullshit? I think there's a lot of opinions on this, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
It's not that serious to me right now in this video.
No.
We hope you like this kind of content, and if you did, you can subscribe for more. If you want more of us, you can find us on Instagram. We hope to see you next time.
Bye.
It's been a while since Adonis has been in our video. Hi, baby boy.
He's so cute. What do you identify as, huh? Are you a cat boy or a cat girl?
Where were we?